Hi, hello everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us today for episode 10 of Be Fearless. We're very lucky today because we've got a special guest speaker, Rachel, who I'm going to introduce, and I'm going to ask her to tell you all about how she helps people. And her contact details will be in the comments, so you'll be able to contact her yourself if you feel that she can help you. So good morning, Rachel, or good afternoon, where I am. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And thank you for having me as a guest on your podcast. I'm excited.
Oh, we're excited to have you. The pleasure's all ours, and thank you for coming. So I would love for you, Rachel, to tell our audience a little bit about how you help people.
Yeah. So I am a mindset business mentor. And so basically, what I do is we really focus on the aspect of being a phoenix and what that means. And so let me just give you the background, right? So a phoenix is where you release what no longer serves you and you light that on fire, it turns to ash, and you get to rise from the ashes like a phoenix. And then you get to soar. So in my business, that's exactly what I do with my Phoenix clients, is to help them release what's not serving them, whether it be strategies that don't work anymore or fear that they have, limiting beliefs, all of those types of things. And then we move into the soaring of their business when we have those things kind of under control. And what we really do is we focus on what I call the Phoenix formula. And it is where it's 4 steps. And the first one, you go through what your offer is and really keen into what makes you stand out from other people. And generally speaking, it is something that you are either unaware of or you don't care to pay attention to it, right? You may ignore it, but it's oftentimes something that you may see it as a weakness or maybe a disadvantage. And we turn that into a great asset of yours. And it's what is able to steer your business and allow you to go from struggling to being confident and making the conversions and all of those types of things. So I can go into those steps now, or I can go into them later or never. You tell me.
Oh, that's amazing. I love what you do, and I'm actually
Thank you.
I think that everyone can benefit from finding those things that make them step outside, apart from everybody else in their business, especially when it's things that people can't see in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an amazing service that you give to people, and they'll be able to contact you because we'll put all of that in the comments. And but today, Rachel, you're here to talk to us about
Yes.
becoming more fearless and share with us how this has impacted your life, and share with us some strategies that you've used to overcome fear in the past, and
Yes.
what has worked well and what you might still be working on. So I'm Lisa Marie. I'm primary school teacher, and I'm your host for this G.S.T podcast. And I'm going to get straight into asking questions with Rachel today. And my first question today, Rachel, is can you tell us about a time or a situation in your life when you've experienced fear, which it might have prevented you or not from doing something that you knew you should do, or something you really wanted to do?
Great question. I would say, kind of going along the same lines of the Phoenix, which is how I got into what I'm doing now. I come from the realm of education, and I was a teacher for many years. And then I went into administration, and I ended up receiving a traumatic brain injury. And it forced me to leave the educational realm. And where the fear comes in is that I had no idea what life was going to be after that, because that's what I knew. That's what I felt like I would do for the rest of my career. This was never in my sight line of something that I would ever do. And so during that time, I became very fearful of a lot of things, but one of them was, how do I take who I am now and be okay with that person, because the person that I was before the injury was not someone that I could be anymore. And I loved that person, and I really liked her, but I had to literally release her and allow her to burn so that I could rise as the person that I am now and the person that I'm still to come, right? So that is something that has kept me in a state of fear. And I'll bring it in really briefly to my role in business. Is when we talk about kind of finding the crux, or I talk about this with my clients, is finding the crux within you that really is holding you back. And sometimes that's really challenging to find. And for me, it was challenging to find, but once I figured it out, it was a fear of success. And the reason why I was fearing success so much is not so much about the unknown, but because when I became an administrator and got hurt and had to leave, it was my first administrative position. So it was taken away from me. So I went back to school and got these licenses to be able to be an administrator. I start 2.5 weeks into the school year, it's taken away. So my greatest fear, I learned, was that if I become successful in my business, somehow it's going to be taken away from me. And so did that answer your question?
That was a brilliant answer, actually, Rachel. Thank you for sharing that very personal story of what's happened to you. And what I took from that as well is that fear was hand in hand with your limiting belief. And your limiting belief was, because this has happened to me already, it could happen again. And that then turned into fear, the feeling and the emotions that you had. So, wow, that was such a great answer. So that leads me perfectly into my second question, actually, because you talked there about the fear, and that was of the limiting belief that was saying that this could happen again, that you can get really successful, get what you want, and have it snatched away. And I can 100% relate to that. And I think it's very powerful that you shared that. Thank you. So my question is, what actions did you take to overcome those limiting beliefs, to work on that fear? And could you share with us some of the successful strategies you used that work for you?
Yeah. So mindset. So being that I am a mindset mentor, that's one of the things that I had to really work on. And it's not that I wasn't working on it before. It's just once you're able to identify something, then you know where you can target your own strategies and your own methods and your own ways of learning how to move past things. So really working on that mindset piece. And when I started really honing into that and really thinking about fear itself being that, basically that block between having the success and staying where I was, of basically I wanted success. I wanted it, and that was my conscious, but my subconscious was saying, no, right? Protect yourself. And one of the things about fear is that I kind of think about having this light around you, kind of as a circle. And inside of that light, that's where you're safe. And fear is outside of that. And fear is darkness beyond. So taking a step into the darkness, well, scary things can happen, right? So what I really learned is that fear can either control us and consume us completely, and we can allow that to happen whether we want to or not, or we can learn how to control fear. And the way that I learned how to do that is to have it really walk with me, because it's always there. Yeah. It's always going to be there to protect us, right? It's not there to hurt us, it's there to protect. And so if we allow it to walk with us, we still have the control of fear, because we still get to make decisions. When fear carries us, that's when it controls us, because there's no way to get to the ground. So we stay in this space, and it can come and it can go anytime it wants. And it's just all there. So I had to learn how to teach myself to have fear walk with me and walk next to me, so that when I did all of these things through my business and everything that I do, I'm able to acknowledge it, because that's a huge thing, is being able to acknowledge that it's there. When we try to run from it, that is not going to serve us, right? It's going to scoop us up and it's going to carry us, because we are trying to get away. When we acknowledge it, I'm like, here's fear. Hello. So when we acknowledge it, then we let it know that I'm hearing you, right? I'm seeing where you're kind of wanting to take me with this. Then we can kind of look at a situation and see where that fear might come in, and how it is that we can help ourselves to go beyond that circle of light that we have. So one of the big things is allowing it to walk with you, honestly, acknowledging that it's there. And once we, and we talk about that comfort zone, when you step over your comfort zone, here's the thing, as scared as you may be, when you take that step, it becomes the light, right? Your light kind of starts to consume where you have gone, and it becomes something that's not scary anymore. So being able to trust yourself to be able to take that step and say, fear, I acknowledge you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can do this. And I know you're here to protect me. We can do this. We've got this. We can step over the line, and we can allow that to now become a part of that comfort zone of ours.
You know what I love about the way you explained that? That was so brilliant. I've done 10 episodes of this, and no one's put it in that way before as a person, like personalized fear. And that's going to work for somebody, because that works for me. Because if you think about it, it almost is like your brain is almost made up of lots of little people that are trying, they're trying to protect you. Your brain is on your side. It's not against you, like you said.
Right.
And fear is just that little person that's saying, oh, you don't want to do that. Same thing might happen as last time, or, oh, that's a bit dangerous, a bit dark out there. And it wants to keep you safe. Come on, come with me. I'll keep you safe.
Yep.
But know that you want to say to the fear, well, hey, listen, let's have a, woman to woman chat.
Let's have a convo. Yeah.
Person to person, fear to fear. Let's just have a chat about this. And I want you to carry on protecting me, but I only want you to realize you don't always need to protect me in this kind of situation.
Yes.
We can work together and go through it. And you talked
and
about
I'm sorry.
No, you talked about going into the darkness, and I was just like, the unknown. That's what it is. Who's not scared of the unknown, if we're honest with ourselves? Who doesn't have fear of that, right? You were going
Who wants to step into a forest that they've never been in, or spend the night?
Yeah.
You don't know who's there. You don't know, right? It's very scary. It's kind of almost like it's a different lens.
Yeah.
Because when it tries to protect you, it's trying to put this veil over you. And so some of what I do with my Phoenix clients is ask them questions, ask them to think about and kind of discuss with their fear, what is actually going to happen, right? When I do this, it's not if I do this. When I do this, what could happen? And then if you acknowledge that maybe I have a launch and it flops. Okay, great. Now you know that this could happen. So what are the types of things that you can do proactively to allow that to not happen, right? And get yourself in this mindset, in this space where it's okay. And when we trust ourselves, when we are able to do that, then we're able to release the fear. And I oftentimes just pull it out of me, kind of like a string. And I'm just like, it's like that acknowledgement. Thank you, thank you, thank you. for protecting me. I understand. I'm really like, thank you. I appreciate that, but I don't need you anymore with this. I don't need you. I'm going to be okay. And I know it now.
And it can take a back seat, you know, your little fear
It can
take a back seat.
Yeah.
It's still with you. There to protect you. It knows that, hey, I've got my boundaries and I don't need you to protect me in this. Let's go forward together. I love
maybe kind of like, you know, it takes a step back and maybe it kind of becomes your shadow. So it's still there, but it's not right here hovering.
I love it.
That's a really good aha moment. I'll have to write that down.
Yeah. And I actually had visualizations as well when you said about going into the darkness of handing my little fearless person a torch and say, come on, let's step in together. You know,
yes, let's do it together.
Light the way together, and it won't be so bad.
I love that. Oh, I love that.
So my next question for you, Rachel, is, do you have it? Well, obviously we always have fears. So are you aware of any current fears that you're working on now and steps that you're taking every day to work on these?
Oh, yeah. They're everywhere. Yeah. They're everywhere.
But fear's your friend, so it's okay, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, if I want it to be my enemy, it sure will be, right? Exactly. And that's when you stay stuck. So it's, you know, not even a frenemy. Allow it to become a friend because you can have this connection. I would say right now, so many different things because it's always there and wanting to protect me. But one of the big things that I have going on right now is a new program. And so a lot of fear comes into something that is new, and being able to validate for myself that this is something that is going to work. And when I say that, I have to think about all of the ways that I understand that this will help people, right? Because it's about that service. And so I am going to be able to help this person. I'm going to be able to change this person's life. I'm going to be able to help change their business so that they can be successful in a way that maybe no other coach or mentor has been able to help them with in the past, because of how it is that I approach with them and find that inner phoenix of theirs, which also kind of helps contain that fear. So that is something that I'm every day, right? I'm like, okay, I should write a post today. Maybe, Rach, maybe. Yeah. Or, you know, I want to talk to this person today. I had this meeting today. You know what? And it's interesting because we can have meetings with people. We can get to know people. We can have our sales conversations. We still get nervous, right? So I can walk into a conversation saying, hey, I've got eyes on your business right now. And if this works, we can work together if we both feel it, right? But there's always that little, she's always right here, ready to protect. And so I always feel it, but I understand how to allow her to be with me. And I have learned how to allow myself to release her so that I can fully step into that next place.
It's true. It's about awareness, isn't it? I mean, I love what you said again. It's perfectly spot on. And you also mentioned about being able to help people. That's a big driving force, isn't it? To push through the fear. When you know that if you stayed where you are and you didn't do anything, that somebody may not get that outcome that you want.
Right. And there are people that are literally meant to work with you.
Yeah.
And they're out there waiting. Yeah. So the longer we allow fear, for instance, to consume us, where, you know, I've got this program and I could put it out there, but maybe I want to perfect it for like another week. Well, yeah, but put it out there, right? Get out there, do it. You can perfect as you go.
Yeah.
Right? You can make it better. You're always going to find ways to make it better. And you're always going to find ways, you're always going to come to times where things are, you know, maybe a strategy worked really, really, really well. And now you're like, why is this not working anymore? Well, because you have grown, right? You have expanded. Your horizon is getting bigger. So that's when you release it, set that thing on fire, let it go, and be able to step into new things and new strategies, because you are meant to help people, certain people waiting for you.
I totally agree. 100% is amazing. My next question really was sort of on the transformation that occurs with your clients and with yourself, even when you do realize that you can control this fear, that you know, this is a friend that can be tamed. This is not your enemy. This is something that works with you and for you. And what's the transformation look like when you live more fearlessly in all of your decisions? How is it different to before?
That's a great question. I would say like the word transformation is just kind of like dung, dung, dung in my mind. It's really about trust, I think. When you are able to make a transformation, you are trusting that you are going to be okay. You are trusting that everything's going to work out. Can you just ask the question one more time?
Yeah. So what is the transformation like when you can live life being more fearless than you had been before?
It's a sense of freedom. It's being able to take that which had control over you, was carrying you all through all of these different things. And it's being able to see yourself make the transition, make the transformation of saying, no, no, you don't need to control me. I can do this. And part of that is learning, right? Part of that is working with your mentor, working with whomever, doing that mindset work so that you can learn how to bring fear next to you, how to walk alongside it, how to say to it when it's really pushing you, what is the worst that's going to happen?
Exactly.
What's the worst, right? Do I fall on my face? Do I put a post out there and you think no one reads it? Probably tens of thousands of people are reading it, right? But you feel like they're not. It's that trust, because the transformation itself, being able to know that you have some control over your fear, and that at times you get to have full control because you allow yourself to release it, is like, that's an exciting thing. And you should be excited about it, because if you have a fear of success, if you have a fear of failure, if you have a fear of stepping outside of your house, when you take the step across that line into that darkness, remember that light starts to come around you. That comfort zone starts to expand because you're learning as you go. And as you learn, you understand, right? You know,
and you grow,
so you get to be excited and you get to enjoy the space that you're in, instead of like crouching in the corner, just like, no, maybe tomorrow, maybe never,
or
maybe
turning your back on
right?
it. Absolutely.
And it's a huge part of it is that subconscious, because our conscious wants us to be successful. It wants us to do great things. That subconscious piece, where that fear kind of lies, it can be very overwhelming and very loud. And if we allow it to scream and block out everything else, then there's where there's a bit of control that needs to be kind of taken back, so that you can continue to walk with it and continue to see, like, I can do this, right? I have turned a corner. I have learned how to make fear my friend, basically.
It's like,
so I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, you totally did. It's like cultivating the relationship with fear, isn't it? So that you can move from that step that you feel is into the darkness, that now becomes, I love the way you said, expanding your comfort zone, you know, because it's true. I think that is the essence of what you were saying about your transformation, is that your comfort zone becomes so much bigger, doesn't it? The light is so much bigger around you. You've got so much more space and you can feel that you can move more. I that was a really good
Yeah.
answer.
If
Definitely.
you think of your business as the landscape of your life, not your business, but like your life, you have this landscape and you get to develop it over time. And I think of it like having a canvas and I'm just creating. So for me, it's the outdoors, it's a waterfall. I have a lot of things going on in my canvas and I continue to add to it. So as I step out of these fears and as I go into these things, basically I acknowledge it, I listen to it, I can question it after I listen to it. Like, why are you actually here? Why are you actually scaring me? Why don't I want to do this? What is the real reason? And for me, that's a fear of success. So now that I know the real reason, now I can say, okay, this is what I need to work on specifically. So let me work on it so that I can then release you because I am successful. I get to be successful. I get to be successful.
And that's the beauty of working with someone else, isn't it? That they can help you to find that thing that's holding you back, to find that reason.
Yes.
That potentially you've got limiting beliefs or you're self-sabotaging and all the other things that we tend to do when fear's involved. That's great. And my last question actually is about if you met someone who was telling you, I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how to step into my fear, into my comfort zone. I don't know if I can let myself go forward and do this thing. I want to do it, but I just don't think I can. What would be your biggest advice to them to help them to move forward and to follow their dreams, regardless of how they're feeling?
First of all, we should work together so I can help you. Right?
I agree with that.
But I would say the biggest thing is take what you are doing, take what you see that you want to do, and break it down into small pieces. Because if you look at a huge picture, you're going to be extremely scared. And that's just knowledge, right? You're going to have that fear. So I'm allowing you to know you're going to have that fear, okay? But when you are able to break it down into bite-sized pieces, if you will, then you take one thing on at a time. And so you go up to that and you say, okay, today I am going to learn how to write an email sequence, for instance, whatever the case may be. And instead of allowing it to be a prevention, allow it to, like you had said before, I'm trying to think of what you had said, not just about being a friend, but I don't know. I don't know what it was, but you said it. It was like after the first question, you said it so wonderfully. But just one step at a time. One step at a time, small steps. They don't have to be massive. You're going to get to the end result. You're going to get to the finish line either way, right? It doesn't have to be leaps forward. Right. It's just one little thing. And when you're able to conquer that, when you're able to bring that into your comfort zone, then you can make that next step. Listen, y'all, you don't need to jump out of your comfort zone. You don't need to jump or leap into the darkness and the unknown, right? You can go for it, but you don't have to. You can take a step and you can allow yourself even to have one foot in and one foot out and see, okay, this is what I need to do. Okay. I need to really think about what could happen. What could happen, what can go really well, what could go wrong. And you lean on the what can go really well because you get to create that for yourself now that you acknowledge the fact that you have that fear. And now that you acknowledge the fact that you are stepping into being fearless in your business, in the rest of your life, you have made the decision to be fearless. So think about all of the things that can go right and all of the things that actually will when you take these little steps.
Sure. And acknowledge them. This is great. You know, those baby
Acknowledge them.
steps, even if
And
they're tiny, acknowledge them and
yes,
celebrate them.
that exactly. I was just going to say, acknowledge them and have gratitude,
Yeah.
because gratitude really goes a long way. It makes you feel better, right? But it also kind of tells your inner dialogue that, okay, wow, I did it.
Yeah.
Okay, I just did that.
Yeah.
Sweet. And
Exactly.
so take those little steps and acknowledge the greatness within you. It doesn't matter how small. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself.
Yes. And what a lovely thing to end on, actually, because you've summed it all up there, really, haven't you? It's all about celebrating, being proud of yourself, those tiny achievements. If it helps you, write it down.
Mhm.
I love what you've said here today, Rachel, about making fear your friend. So we're all going to go away and we're all going to realize this is our friend, you know, and we're all going to make friends
Yes.
with our fear, and we're going to have a better relationship with our fear going forward, because we're never going to get rid of
Yes.
her or him or it or
Put your
whatever.
arm around her,
Yeah.
walk with her,
Nurture.
listen to her,
Yeah.
right? Don't avoid her, acknowledge and listen. And then you can say, okay, I heard you. Here's what I'm feeling,
And be
right? Because
objective.
fear
Yeah.
is a feeling.
Yeah.
So you
It's
can
not a
kind of go back
reality.
and
It's
forth.
false evidence appearing real. That's one of my favorites, you know, so you can let the
Ooh,
fear know, yeah, I know you're trying to help me, but may not need to in this instance. So absolutely love
yes.
what you've shared with us, Rachel. It's been absolutely brilliant podcast today. Thank you for sharing all that wonderful wisdom with us. And if you do want to work with
Yes.
Rachel, then like I say, we're going to put her information in the comments. And I'm going to say that I am already in your group and getting great value from that. She does have a Facebook group, which I highly recommend, everybody. And I also just want to say thank you for being with us today, Rachel. It's been absolutely brilliant. And hopefully this is just the start of a relationship between us where we can help
Mhm.
hopefully work together in the future. And I hope that everybody out there is now beginning a relationship with their friend Fear after today's
Yes.
podcast. So if you do watch the replay, please put hashtag replay and let us know, because unfortunately we had some issues with going live today. So this is the recording, but thank you for watching if you are, and we will see you again next week. And I
Yes.
just want to say goodbye to everybody and thank you again, Rachel. It's been great.
Thank you as well, Lisa Marie. Yes.